Hi everyone, it's special episode 27, same day as my birthday, February.
Nice.
So yeah, this is gonna be a good episode. It's just us two, the original crew again. It's been a while
Yes, it has.
since
And
we've done this.
we're gonna talk about that. We didn't upload. This is going out on Tuesday. We haven't. We uploaded something Friday and Saturday. But that's all we did last week. We're just burnt out, and we're probably gonna back down on skits. For the foreseeable future, we'll put one out every now and again, but we're not gonna upload as consistently as we used to with skits. We'll try and put out the podcast every week. Again, we kind of fell off of that.
Yeah.
And then the verses is still gonna keep going, and then the new series that you guys saw Friday, Bagel Bites, is also going to be weekly. But yeah, the skits will probably tone down. We're gonna put out shorts, as you noticed. Some shorts have been doing pretty well, so we're gonna probably be focused on that more than skits for the future.
Yeah.
So I have a few stories to talk about. So the first thing is that Donovan, we were on a Discord call, and he randomly goes to me. He goes, "I was on Instagram, and you look just like your sister." And
Which one?
Kayla.
Oh.
And I was like, "Yeah, actually, as when we were growing up, a lot of people thought we were twins. But I guess nowadays we don't really look that similar." And he was like, "You guys look exactly like each other." And I was like, "We don't look exactly like each other." But that's pretty much that story.
Donovan.
Yeah. Um, Something kind of toxic. So I I'm stupid, and I like have to, like, a top 5 people I like, and
A list.
it always changes. You and Connor will always be 1 and 2.
Alright.
But Recently, somebody who entered the top 5 is Andrew.
Oh.
He was
nice.
never in that list up until like a few weeks ago. So Andrew's in the top 5. I think the other 2 are Grayson and Grant.
Okay.
Those are my 5.
It's a good
Yeah.
crew.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'd say, obviously, if I had to narrow it, I don't think I could put 5, but you obviously.
Yeah.
I'd put Connor in there. Connor's just kind of a person you'd never have an issue with.
Yeah.
Your issue with is just attendance. That's it. But it's not like personality or anything
No.
you ever run to. And I'd say Grayson too. You can actually talk to him about topics.
Mm-hmm.
Grant, mostly. It depends.
Yeah.
But
Hit or miss.
yeah. But yeah, all of them. Yeah, Andrew. I talked to Andrew recently.
Yeah.
I texted him. I was like, we gotta hang out. I think he's open Sunday.
Yeah. He
The
is
bit.
open Sunday, I think.
Okay.
Thing with Andrew is he's free. His work days he's off is Sunday through Tuesday, and then every other day he works.
Yeah, and he does a lot of hours, I think.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Andrew and I we started a little 21 club, and people will join as they turn 21.
Yeah.
So
I gotta wait a while.
yeah, but we did the first one on Tuesday, and it was pretty fun. We just had some beer at Roosters,
Alright.
and they don't actually card you at restaurants.
Like at all?
No, they just are like, all right, we'll have your drinks up and you'll be good. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I had a Blue Moon, and it was good.
That one's pretty good, yeah.
Andrew had a Corona.
It's good.
Andrew had 3 Coronas.
Classic.
And I don't recommend getting more drinks at restaurants because it's more expensive.
Yeah.
He paid like $12 for 3 beers.
And
So.
you can't, I feel like even at bars, though, I couldn't get, like, wasted.
Yeah.
Because you're around too many people you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, alright.
And that day I'll also tell the Jared story, which is number 12. So before we went to Roosters, we hung out with Jared for a little bit. He took us grocery shopping he shops at a Kroger in near London. That's his new grocery shopping place, I guess. I don't know what's wrong with the Krogers here. So he was like shopping, and he was getting Jared's stuff, and then like vegetables and like healthy bullshit.
Okay.
And he puts the cart, he like leaves it with us for a second, and then he goes to the fridge or whatever, and I go, Jared doesn't have enough like kid snacks in here, so I see a box of Scooby snacks and I put it in the cart.
It's funny.
And Andrew and I just start like snickering a little bit, and then Jared gets back to the cart, doesn't suspect a thing, and then we keep going. We looked at alcohol for a while.
Yeah.
And then Jared's checking out, and Andrew and I wait outside for him, and we're just sitting on like lawn chairs or whatever that are out there, and Jared comes out with the cart, and the first thing he says to us, which we completely forgot about, which one of you fuckers put the Scooby snacks in the cart?
It's pretty funny.
And yeah, we both forgot about it, and then we're walking back to the car, and then I go, well, Jared, I guess you could say it's a mystery. And he's like, you little shit.
That's funny. Most Jared thing.
Yeah, so that's the Jared story.
I want to hear the mini-me story.
So this is at work. This is like a couple weeks ago, and we're working on the final truck. It's like Will and some other loser who's working on the truck. I don't even know his name, but I don't like him.
I don't like him.
They're like working on the truck, and then Mini-Me and I are our banana man, as Holden calls him. We're picking up smalls off the ground, putting them in totes. So I'm walking up from the left side where the extendo is, and I have like a bunch of totes, and I put them on the ground, and I have one tote, and Mini-Me squashed down like below the extendo, so I didn't see him, and I'm like, all right, so I'm just gonna throw a tote on the other side because that side needs totes. So I threw it, not knowing he was there. As soon as I release him, I see his little head poke up. I'm like, oh my god! And then it hits him in the back, and he like falls over. And then he turns around and looks at me, and I go like this to the other side.
Yeah.
And then he looks at Alex, who's on the other side, and he's like, "You hit me!" And I'm like,
it's hilarious.
And then you know what Alex does? He just walks down the ladder and walks away.
So he just took it.
Yeah.
He took the blame.
He didn't care, but the supervisors do not give a shit. Mini-Me went up to like Mason or something, and he's like, he hit me with the tote, and he's like, all right, pal. And then he just kept going.
Hey, Mini-Me, have another banana. We don't know what's...
That was the funniest moment, and I was like, as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, I gotta talk about this on the podcast.
He's like the cutest little old man ever, because he's harmless. Like you look at him, you're like, oh, Mini-Me.
I just can't believe I got away with that, because I think if I did anything else, he would have known I hit him.
Yeah,
but
it's like a show.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I did. Yeah. We could talk about the NFL season a bit. The preseason's over. And regular season is next week. Starts next Thursday.
What's the first game?
Bills Rams on Thursday night. So I guess that's in 2 days of when this is getting released.
I think the Bills take that.
Probably. But it's interesting because we started this podcast when the playoffs were starting, and now the regular season's back, so it's all full circle, and I think that's pretty cool. Okay. And we'll see how it goes. If you want to pull up the NFL games, we could talk about them for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I think the Buccaneers play the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah?
A night game again, like last year.
So that's exactly like last year, like week 1.
Yeah, hopefully reverse and we win this time.
And my recommended was the Raiders-Ravens last year, week 1, and it like the title said Game of the Year. And I was like, all right.
All right. All right. We'll go just how it is. 49ers-Bears.
Okay. I think the 49ers are winning that, probably.
Yeah. Do they still have gold?
I don't think they have gold anymore. And they might. I think they do, actually. So, interesting about the 49ers, I saw this on the Pat McAfee show. They are basically becoming a 60s team. They have like 5 running backs on the roster and like 1 receiver. And that's Debo.
What the heck?
Debo's the only receiver they have on their team.
And he's like a running back. Think about it.
So they're pretty much just going to be running the ball.
Wildcat.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can bring the Wildcat back every few years.
Well, I think they're going to be handing it off, but...
Yeah.
Every few years.
Steelers, Bengals.
I'm not going to predict that one.
I'm going to say Bengals, but
all right.
I don't think... I'll just go ahead and say, like... I think if they start Trubisky, I think it'll be a close game. Because I think Trubisky's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
but I think if they start Pickett, I don't think, and if they start Rudolph for some random reason,
They
definitely
won't.
getting destroyed.
Russ and I have talked a little bit.
Yeah, does he like Trubisky?
Yeah, he's actually really big on Trubisky.
Yeah,
he thinks Trubisky should start, is what he said.
I agree. Big North Carolina guy.
Yeah, he said he was picked second overall for a reason.
Yeah,
so we'll see what he does.
I think he definitely has. It's what Matt Nagy screwed him over more than.
That's what Russ said too.
Because you don't have a quarterback in their second year call all their plays.
Mm-hmm.
It's too inexperienced.
Yeah.
But Buccaneers Cowboys, I can't predict that one. You predict.
Buccaneers Cowboys. I'll go with Dallas.
All right. Buccaneers are favored by a point.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot closer. Everyone's down on the Cowboys because the Eagles got a lot better, but then they're all predicting the Eagles to win the division. But I think the Cowboys still got it. I think it'll be the first repeat NFC East champion since 2003.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's saying Eagles, which I find interesting. I think
the NFL. Sorry to interrupt, but the NFL posted on their story like they did like polls for each division.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think the NFC East was actually really close with the Eagles and Cowboys.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys barely beat out by like 2%.
It was like 46% Cowboys, 42% Eagles, and like the Commanders lower than the Giants, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, and Tyrod Taylor got hurt again. So
yeah, he did. I don't think the Giants. I think the Giants win 2 games.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they're doing well.
I'm
just not big on them.
Saints Falcons.
Probably Saints. If they start Andy Dalton.
I think the Saints could actually win the division.
I don't know about that, but
I think the Buccaneers are a playoff built team.
Yeah.
I think they'll make the playoffs, but I just don't know if they can't beat the Saints ever in the regular season.
They can't, but they won the division last year, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. Saints beat them once. But yeah, I just think we could see someone else win the division, but the Buccaneers possibly make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah. Eagles Lions.
Eagles probably.
Yeah, they're 4 point. I think the Lions could surprise.
They could.
A lot of people.
They're a Hard Knocks team.
I think they could get like 6 wins, which is pretty good.
I asked Russ, do you think what happened to the Bengals last year will happen to like the Lions or Jaguars or teams like that? And he was like, no. He was like, and then he was like, I guess I can't say anything because we tied with them last year in the Lions and Steelers.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what about the Jets? And he was like, the Jets.
That's funny. I'm pulling for Goff. I want Goff to do really good. I like him. He's my favorite California quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like Rodgers a lot.
Well, I like them both, but I prefer Rodgers. I always like to say he's that community college quarterback because he played for them for a year, Buttes or whatever. True. But yeah, I just really like Goff. I just hope he does really good. Mm-hmm. He kind of got screwed over. Yeah. Because everyone's like, oh, you got taken to the Super Bowl, but he's a good quarterback.
He's good.
Yeah,
He just needs to. He has the right weapons too. The Lions bulked up in the draft and in free agency getting receivers. And
he's really. I think he's really calm. He's just like a chill dude. He's almost like Stafford, how they act.
A little bit.
They don't really. Or Brady, they don't go out.
Yeah. This is a little unrelated, but did you see KTO's most recent video?
Yeah, Alfred Morris.
Mm-hmm. The ending was really awesome.
Yeah, like the touchdown against the Redskins.
I like his celebration every touchdown.
Knock it out of the park. Yeah. He was a good running back. Mm-hmm. I think the Cowboys that year, before we go to other games, the Cowboys that year could have, if we utilized them and split him with Zeke a little more, because Zeke was having a great year. If we split them both, kind of like we have Tony Pollard this year.
Yeah.
I think we actually could have gone really far.
Yeah.
Because our air raid was really good, and then we have, a run game that's really good. We're just I think the Cowboys are a really unlucky team in the playoffs. We always make the playoffs, but something has to go wrong.
I think the 2016 Cowboys are really like the 2015 Bengals.
Yeah.
And just didn't...
Perfect season and just kind of went away.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think a Cowboys team that would win the Super Bowl, watch it be like a 10-7 Cowboys team that is away and then wins it all. But yeah.
Do you think the Cowboys win a Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is still owning the team?
It's grim, but I think it could happen. Mm-hmm. I think Jerry Jones' son would be a better owner. Yeah. Because he's a little more involved. But yeah.
Jerry's become like senile,
Yeah, and he's just like, "Where's Jimmy?"
I thought that was mine.
But
where's Jimmy?
anyways, the Patriots Dolphins.
So I'm in the KTO pool thing or whatever that you can potentially win $1 million if you get 6 in a row or whatever. And I actually have in that game the Dolphins winning, so I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
Oh, okay. I think Dolphins. Dolphins always beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I think they have a lot to prove. I think there's two ways. Story can be a tragic disaster to where he just lets his team down, or he steps up and they win the division.
Could happen.
But I will say watch out for them. I think Tua can be good. It's hard when a lefty knows how to like actually play. It can be really hard to play against them.
Yeah, that's true. Because you're not used to like the right tackle being the blind side and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I hope he does good. Lefty supremacy. So.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I like Steve Young more than Montana.
I mean, I do too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We both kind of agree on that. He screwed us both over.
Yeah.
Ravens, Jets.
Ravens.
Jets don't even have their starter.
No.
I don't even think Wilson's going to be that good.
No, I don't think so either.
I think Mike White is the future.
Mike White's like 27 years old or some shit.
Yeah, that's not bad. What, is Flacco the future?
Yeah.
He is elite.
My favorite quarterback that the Jets had, they cut. It was like the 4th-string QB that had the walk-off touchdown.
Oh yeah, the long last name.
Yeah, I forget his name.
They cut him?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, sorry, we already have 3 quarterbacks.
I think, did you see Flacco? I watched a funny video where Flacco was talking about his kids making fun of him.
They're like, you suck.
Yeah, he's like, I have a ring, and they're like, oh yeah, Ray Rice got you that ring.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it's Ravens, Jaguars, Commanders.
Sam talked about that at the football game. He was like, we're playing DC on 9/11, and I was like,
I want the Jags to win.
I want the Jags to win too, but I think the Commanders will win.
Yeah. Aren't we doing a thing Sunday night? Because I think I'll be able to actually go to that.
September 11th?
Are we? I thought we were all going to see the night game or afternoon game. Or is that the day after?
Wait.
Then it can't. Broncos Seahawks.
I'm confused.
I thought someone was like, we're all going to get together to watch the games.
Who said that?
I think Paul or something. I don't...
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll watch... the night before, I'll be in my hotel room. I'll be able to watch the Broncos game. I'll just hear Paul from all the way there.
Oh,
I'll hear a scream.
Show. Yeah. Oh, is that the game he was talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
What night is that? Is that Sunday night?
It's Monday.
Oh,
so I won't be able to go, but...
I probably won't be able to go either.
But we'll hear Paul.
Yeah.
We'll hear him screaming. Go Gino.
Yeah.
But, Browns-Panthers. A revenge game. That'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah. I hate Baker. But I'll go with Carolina.
Yeah. I actually like Baker a little more now.
Yeah.
He's like the good guy because, he's like, I'm not a predator. And then Watson would be like, where's your children?
True. I like Baker more than Deshaun, but I just don't like him because of the OU thing. I'm still upset about the OU
thing.
He has that OU thing.
Yeah. So do you like Kyler?
No. Because Kyler's worse than Baker in my opinion because he went from A&M to OU.
Wow.
Whereas Baker at least went to Tech.
Yeah. And Baker tried to go to Texas, but they wouldn't let him. True. So it's kind of a sad story.
Yeah.
It's like Tom Brady.
Whereas Kyler's a stupid little baby who should have went to baseball.
Yeah. would have won a World Series for the A's, but no.
I don't know if you remember this, but way back I used to despise Kirk Cousins because of Colt McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
And now Kyler's on that parade because Colt McCoy.
Do you like Cousins now?
He's alright.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Michigan State.
Yeah.
Beat Notre Dame that 1 year.
Yeah, that 1 year.
The fake field goal here. Colts Texans.
If the Colts start Sam Ehlinger, they're easily gonna win, but they're gonna start Matt Ryan, so they'll win by 3 points.
Wow, they'll win by 3 points. They're 8-point favorite.
Okay.
I think if the Colts start Ehlinger, they win the division.
Yeah.
If they don't start Ehlinger, they miss the playoffs again.
Oh. Matt Ryan.
Yeah. And he loses to the Buccaneers. What if he makes the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers?
That'd be crazy. But the Buccaneers are winning.
And it's reversed this time. He used to be NFC, and now he's AFC.
That's
and Tom
true.
Brady used to be NFC. So it's reversed too. He comes back, instead of 28-3, it's 31-3. But Matt Ryan comes back and wins. And Brady's like, are you serious?
It'd be crazy to see the Buccaneers lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Yeah. They're also the losingest team.
Yeah.
Giants, Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, Titans. The point spread's a lot smaller than I'd expect. It's only 5.
Yeah. I actually am not big on the Titans this year. I don't think they're going to do well.
Good coach, bad team.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I like Vrabel.
They were stupid for getting rid of Brown, but I like Burks, the guy from Arkansas.
Yeah.
He's from Arkansas. So.
I honestly want Vrabel to be the Cowboys coach.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it'd be good.
I think he'd be better, like trade coaches, like Gruden.
Mike McCarthy. Like Gruden. Old different times.
They traded him. Packers, Vikings. Good game.
That's a tough one.
America's game of the week?
Yeah, that's definitely tough. I'll go with Minnesota because I think they just got what's his name? The guy who they
Rieger?
Yeah, they made fun of him, and now he's on their team. I think Rieger's gonna do good with the Vikings because he kind of he didn't fit in with the Philly crowd because they booed him for getting drafted, and that kind of like lowered his morale.
Yeah.
And then he started playing bad.
I think Vikings is a dark horse Super Bowl team for me. I don't necessarily really think they'd be in the Super Bowl, but I definitely could see them going all the way.
They haven't made a Super Bowl since the 70s.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think they're just like known as having super talented teams that never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Watch a not really talented team win a Super Bowl.
The 3 teams I most want to win a Super Bowl are the Vikings, Bills, and Bengals because they've been to the most without winning.
Definitely Vikings and Bengals. Bills,
Yeah,
they gave us 2, but with Josh Allen. But yeah, I think the Panthers are kind of sad too. They're 0-2.
Yeah, and there's a couple teams that are 0-2, I think.
Really?
I don't know.
But I know, but they were like a new team in their first Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm watching The Man in the Arena, the Tom Brady documentary about him and the Patriots. It's actually pretty good. They had I just watched the Giants one where Mike Strahan was also talking, and he was like, "Let's ruin their day." And then Tom Brady was like, Tom Brady even says he's like, he says that's the most talented NFL team ever. You could make an argument besides the 72 Dolphins, but
I think the most talented team ever is actually statistically the 91 Redskins.
Really? They were a good team.
Yeah.
Isn't the Vikings the 98 Vikings or whatever?
They were really good, but they just didn't make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Redskins won that Super Bowl.
Yeah. Redskins were insane, but so were the 72 Dolphins beat the Redskins.
Yeah, but they won by like 7 points or some shit.
Yeah, and it was funny because I just remember the story. They were gonna kick a field goal to make it 17.
17-0.
Yes, and just like 17-0, and he missed the field goal, and he tried to like throw it, the kicker, and then they ran it all the way back.
They like went backwards or whatever.
Yeah,
it's funny,
but tragic for Dolphins.
Oh, what a tragedy in game day 1.
That's why I think Shula and Belichick are 2 greatest coaches. Yeah. If Belichick gets one more ring without Brady, he's the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, I'll concede that. I think Shula's still that right now.
Yeah, as of right now. But if Belichick can get one without Brady, greatest coach of all time. Because Brady already, I think, proved he's the greatest quarterback of all time by winning without.
Yeah.
At least the greatest game manager of all time.
Shula also ended his career with a winning season. Yeah. He only had 2 losing seasons in his 30-year coaching career.
Yeah, he was insanely good and good for bringing back franchises.
Yeah.
It just sucks he didn't get as many rings as he should have.
Yeah, he just choked in the playoffs.
Landry's kind of the same way. He could have gotten way more than 2, but
yeah.
But anyways, where we're at? Chiefs, Cardinals.
The Cardinals are actually going to be better this year. But they're still kind of jittery from last season, so I think the Chiefs win that.
Yeah.
The Chiefs and Cardinals are both coming off rough games, though, because the Chiefs had a great first half, but then they just fumbled in the second half, and Mahomes didn't look like himself.
Yeah. And I actually think we could see the Chiefs dip a bit.
Yeah, they probably will. They lost Tyreek Hill. That's probably a big reason why. I think they lost a couple of defensive pieces too, but
yeah,
I think Juju will do a little bit better with them than he did with the Steelers.
Yeah, they lost to Honey Badger.
Yeah.
but how do you say his last name? Mateo or whatever.
Matthew.
Matthew. Is it Matthew?
It's Matthew.
It's just Matthew. But yeah, I always wondered what they called him. Why they called him the honey badger, and I actually looked it up. It's just because he's a ball hog.
That's what it is.
But because he played for LSU, I was like, oh, Badgers like Wisconsin, but no.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think I'm gonna go with Cardinals.
Really?
Okay. They have a veteran team, and I think the reason they did so good at the start last year is they had that veteran team with them. When you have a veteran team of a bunch of old guys, you usually do really well because it's just built with experience.
Yeah.
And they make the young guys better.
That's true.
So I think they can beat the Chiefs. It'll be a good game.
I could see that.
Raiders Chargers. That'll be a good
That's
game.
a tough one. The Chargers are looking for revenge.
Yeah.
Those are probably I think those two finished the top 2 in the West.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs are 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's interesting about the division is if you look at the all-time whoever's won the division in that division, the AFC West, the Raiders have won it 16 times. The Chargers have won it 16 times, the Broncos won it 16 times, and the Chiefs have won it 15 times.
Oh.
So if they get one more, they're all tied for the most division wins.
That's funny. Such an even division.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, same. I think the Raiders are a built-to-choke team.
Yeah.
I think they always have these really good teams that just lose in the playoffs.
Our buddy Jacob probably has the Raiders winning.
Yeah. It's just, and with what happening with their players, I actually think their coach isn't that great.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
I don't know why they got rid of Rich Bisaccia or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he did. That's what the thing with interim coaches. It happened to Dan Campbell with the Dolphins. Because he was an interim coach because Joe Philbin got fired.
Yeah, I remember him. He was really young.
Yeah.
He's the coach.
Yeah.
I think Dan Campbell is one of the best coaches in the NFL right now.
He's good. He's the players' coach.
His players care for him. Like, they will give everything. It's just that they don't really have the talent yet.
Definitely better than Matt Patricia.
Yeah. Everyone is talking about, like, I think TJ Hawkinson was talking about him on something.
Yeah.
And he was like, Dan Campbell you can actually, like, kind of play with. You both understand each other. Matt Patricia's just kind of like, we need to do this, and you do it. But yeah. I think Chargers take that one. I think the Chargers could take the division.
Yeah. I could see that.
They're just kind of a choke artist team too. They just kind of find a ways to lose in the last quarter.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because they've always had decent quarterbacks, but their best season was with a mediocre quarterback because I don't even remember who it was, but they made the Super Bowl.
Right. Dan Fouts didn't make a Super Bowl?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
Because he lost to Ken Anderson in the AFC Championship game.
Oh, yeah. Didn't Dan Fouts have one of the greatest statistically games ever?
I think so.
Like, I think it was, like, the greatest pass completion percentage or something.
Like that.
With the most yards.
2 Chargers quarterbacks that went to Oregon. Fouts and Herbert.
Dang. And Rivers went to NC State.
Yeah.
And the final, this will be a really good game, or it could be a blowout, which I'm assuming it really might be, is Broncos Seahawks.
For Paul, I want to say Seahawks, but I think Denver wins. The thing with Denver is I think they're a little bit overrated going into the season. I don't think, and they overpaid Russ. In my opinion, he's like, what, 32 or some shit? And they're paying him a 5-year deal for like 200 and something million, which I think is just overpriced. But their defense is really good, so that's why they'll do okay. But I think the Broncos win.
Broncos, yeah. Broncos. I think Wilson could get a ring within the next 5 years.
I don't know.
I think he'll get one. I think we could see a Manning with him. He retires with a ring in 5 years.
I just don't think he's gonna do as well as he used to. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the atmosphere. They're gonna boo him. I wonder how he'll feel if he's gonna have like a.
Was it in Seattle?
Yeah, it's in Seattle.
Okay.
I wonder if he's gonna have like a Freeman thing where he's very heartfelt with Seattle, because you can't boo the quarterback that won you a Super Bowl, but it's like It's like a Brady situation where they all cheer for him and then they boo for him when he's on the field itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I mean, the dude, no matter what, Seattle will always have to thank at least him, mainly Legion of Boom, but at least him for winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because he balled out in that game too, and you can't really blame him for the other Super Bowl because it's just poor play calling. It's not his fault.
It is.
But yeah, death of a dynasty.
True.
I think they could have done a three-peat if they won that one, and because the year after, it just seems like they weren't in it.
No, they weren't. Yeah, I agree. Moving on from football, it's coming up and we're excited. We actually had a fantasy draft yesterday at the day this being uploaded, so I got so many great players.
Yeah. Dan Fouts.
He's gonna do great. Do you think we're gonna get food poisoning or?
Maybe it's good luck. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, actually, neither of us won because of it. So.
No. Yeah.
Who won last year?
It was Jake.
Jake.
Good for Jake. He went like 8-7 in the regular season.
Dang.
And he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Whoever does the best in the regular season never wins.
It was
Bryant went like undefeated one year, didn't he?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. He went undefeated, one defeated. I think he lost once.
Oh.
And then he just lost in the first round. Was that to you? Or
I think so. Yeah, I beat him.
And then you were like leaving or whatever, and then Kyle was like, ho, 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 ho.
Yeah, and he barely beat me because Cooks was like, oh, I don't want to start.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So you could have had a championship.
But yeah, I've relatively had the same team each time. We don't have keepers, right? It's just drafting.
No.
Okay. And it's random too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So yeah, if you guys don't know, we've had a fantasy league for the past 3 years with a bunch of friends of ours, and it started in 2019, and I don't mean to brag, but I won that one. And then 2020, Kyle won that one, and then last year Jake won that one. And then this year we're excited. So we got a lot of people that are staying with us for the long haul. So that's good.
Yeah.
I think the crew we have now are all like firm and staying, as opposed to like people who are like, oh, I'm not gonna play. So
congratulations to the Rust Man, by the way.
Oh yes, engaged. He's the Rust Man is Jacob Russell. Big shout outs to him.
And also we might as well and congratulations to our dear friend Khalid.
Yeah.
He's married, went to wedding and everything. So he's
crazy.
Married. He's a hitchman. So
hell yeah. Best of luck to you, Khalid.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Till we see you in we'll see you in Texas or some random place.
Yeah, with Rico.
Yeah. And we're like, what are you doing here? But what else?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. Speaking of Jacob Russell, Holden, myself, Jacob Russell, Jake. That's 4. Aiden and Paul are the 6 that have been in every season so far. I think.
Really?
I think that's true, right? For our fantasy league?
Yeah.
It's just us 6. Aiden, Paul, Jake, Jacob, you and me.
Mm-hmm. Was Kyle not?
No.
Yeah, Kyle wasn't. So it's just
it's just us 6. Kyle, Jacob Griner, and Nate all joined the second season. And then Connor joined. I think Connor also joined the second season. And Bryant and Brennan were the other 2 that were in the first season, but then they died. So
really,
yeah.
They died. But yeah. I remember we had was it Brennan or whatever? He lasted 2 seasons and he didn't play really in either of them.
He went to our very first draft.
Yeah.
He got the table for us. He was the youngest person. And we were talking about it at the draft too. Jake was like, "Oh, the youngest person is getting the
table." And then I remember he did decent in the beginning, and then just like didn't edit his players.
Yeah.
Then the year after, he just went like 0-16 or whatever.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he did that bad. He had like 3 wins.
Oh, he was like a bye game.
Yeah, I think the first season he went 6-2, and then he went 6-6. Something like that.
It sucks Bryant's kind of gone because he did really good even when he didn't try. He was like, I'm doing great.
No, he tried in the 2 seasons he was in, and then I asked him about the 3rd season. I was like, oh, are you going to go to the draft? He's like, I'm actually in a different league, so I'm not going to be in this league anymore. So I guess that was his logic.
Yeah.
The first season Bryant was in with us, that was his first ever fantasy season out of any.
So he grew and he threw us away.
Yeah, he grew up with us and now we're dead.
Yeah, you Bryant.
All right. Moving on. I guess we could talk about like. So baseball is pretty much wrapping up.
Yeah. I think we should end on how we met.
Okay.
That's a good last one.
Yeah, we'll end on that. So I have a few other ones on here. Let's do I guess a sad work story.
Sad.
So this isn't really sad, but it's like
misleading then, huh?
I guess the past couple of weeks I've just been kind of like to myself. I haven't really talked to anyone besides Russ and Jason. I just say hi to, but that's it. And then I'm like I'm in a truck, so I kind of my bangs are down all the time, so I look like a emo kid. And I'm just working on a truck, and I'm like retaping, and I'm like very quiet to myself. And then Mason goes up, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I hate my job, so no." That's pretty much what that.
What did he say? Was
he
like,
said, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
And walked away. So that's my sad work story.
I think it's time to hang up the reins.
I don't know, man.
Let it go.
I should, yeah, but I don't know.
Because I mean, there's plenty of other things. What I'd recommend is what Adrian recommended.
I know.
The interns.
Yeah.
But, or just ask him. He probably knows more than me.
Yeah, but it's Adrian.
Yeah. But he's a lot. I would say this. I don't even know if Adrian will ever listen to this. But I would say he is one of the most, like, in the shortest time span, matured out of nowhere. I think college was really good for him. He skyrocketed. He's you could tell he's a lot more social and understands has an awareness, he understands how like the world is and how people are, because you know how like people don't have like an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I will say like Nate's great, but Nate has a terrible awareness. Like he's just kind of Nate.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, you could like be like, I'm gonna kill this guy right in front of him, but you'd be like,
Dude, I exactly know what you're talking about. When I introduced my brother to Nate, all he did was, and then I was like, "This is my brother," and then I go, Nate's in the Marines. I keep saying Navy.
Yeah.
Nate's in the Marines, and then he goes, "Yeah." You can elaborate more.
Yeah. But it's good because it means your brother will want to join the army, which is better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's true. But what else? Oh yeah, speaking of Nate, Andrew replaced Nate actually in the top 5. Nate was in my top 5.
Nate got booted.
Yeah.
Nate's a weird level with me. I think we talked about it. He's like, it's always a gag with Hayden. I just have a high level of respect for him, but that's like
about it.
Yeah. I respect you a lot, but that's where it ends.
Mm-hmm. I will say, Nate's kind of getting me on the Guardians right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think
White Sox suck. I'm kind of like,
yeah, I'm actually, if the Guardians win their division, I might root for them in the playoffs.
Oh,
I want to see at least some Ohio team do well.
Yeah, I guess that you're not gonna like this, but I wouldn't mind if the Cardinals did well.
Yeah, because the Pujols thing.
Because I just like a Cinderella story. I like someone ending with a ring with their career.
Yeah.
And Pujols is a cool guy. Votto likes him. I saw that post.
Of course, Votto likes him. What's he gonna say? Fuck you.
That'd be hilarious. It's like in the cast. Fuck you. But yeah, I think Pujols he's just a good dude too. Mm-hmm. He's just like
the machine.
A genuinely good guy. Like you could tell he loves the game.
Yeah.
He wants the players next to him to do better. He wants his team to do better.
I just remember as a kid, I thought it was a cool name when I heard his name like get called on TV. Yeah. It was like Albert Pujols. I was like, that's an awesome name. And my dad goes, we do not like that guy.
We do not like that guy.
I was like, all right. So that's kind of how I grew up.
And I think now that I think of it, first baseman just produced my favorite players.
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Eric Hosmer. I listed like 2 most random ones. Jose Abreu.
Yeah. Isn't Guerrero Jr. first baseman?
Vlad Guerrero.
Guerrero.
Yeah, he's first baseman.
He's good. They're all like
Joey Votto,
good players.
Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all like the most likable. Shortstop too, besides Altuve.
Yeah.
Or is Altuve second baseman?
Altuve's second baseman.
Second baseman. Never mind. Who was their shortstop?
I think it was Carlos Correa or something.
Oh, but he's in the Twins now.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man.
Bregman?
Something like that.
Or Bregman's the third baseman, I think.
I don't know. I don't care about the
Astros. Mariners, go Mariners.
True.
They're looking up.
Prince Fielder was a first baseman, but he's retired. So.
I think they can go. All the Mariners have to do is make the playoffs, and I think they go far. They have such a talented team.
That's what they said about that one team. They won like what, a record-breaking amount of games.
Yeah, but to be honest, it's always like teams that do so good in the regular season that fall off in the playoffs. Yeah. It's always the underdog that does well for some reason.
Because they have that mentality that like, oh, nobody thinks we could beat this team.
Yeah, nothing to lose, and kind of no one's rooting for you. Everyone's thinking you're gonna
keel over.
Yeah.
All right, what else do I have here? We're done talking about baseball. So our predictions from episode 14 are not going to hold true. I think I remember saying Blue Jays Dodgers for the World Series, and Holden said Red Sox Dodgers.
Yeah, not the Red Sox.
So the Red Sox are not looking too good. I still have hopes for the Blue Jays Dodgers.
I think.
So we'll see.
My dark horse is Mariners. I definitely could see like Mariners Mets. That would be an awesome. Then I wouldn't care who wins because I like them both.
Yeah,
but
that'd be good.
Phillies, watch them go far.
They could. That's actually kind of a stretch, but we'll see. Padres in the West.
Yeah, but it just kind of sucks the trio is dead, but they've been doing fine without him.
They have, yeah. That's what Machado's basically said. He was like, which Machado I used to hate.
Orioles.
Yeah, he was kind of an asshole on the Orioles.
Yeah.
And he was even worse on the Dodgers, but he's actually kind of matured quite a bit on the Padres. And he basically, all he said was, he was like, oh, how are you going to do without Tatis? He's like, we had the whole season without him.
I like this thing where, I forget they were talking to him, they're like, are you going to be able to hit as well because of this? And he's like, I'm Manny fucking Machado. Yeah. Of course I'm going to hit as well.
That was good. I was just watching like MLB fights, and one of them was when Josh Donaldson like lightly tagged Machado, and he like fell back and threw his helmet, and everyone's like, oh, he's such a little baby. That's basically what happened. All right, what else do we have? So I have two more stories before we talk about the final story. So the paper towel story. Mm-hmm. I guess I kind of just spoiled it. So, for those of you guys who don't know, my last name's Wells. So I was in a truck working on it, and I noticed this package said 2 Wells, but it's spelled with like one less L, so 2 Wells. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's spelled wrong. And then I'm like, oh, it says paper towels.
Wow. 2 Wells. That's how you know you've been working there too long.
Yeah. And then and then a couple packages later it was like Wellsville or whatever, a town called Wellsville.
That's where you gotta live.
Yeah, I guess. It's in Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Wellsville, Ohio.
Wonder where it's at.
I don't know. And then what else did I have? Oh yeah, the Ray story. So the Ray story is actually from a while ago. It was the stream after he got twitch.tv/Ray. He's been trying to get that for like 7 years, and he finally got just Ray. So that's pretty cool. He was originally Brown Man, and then Ray Narvaez Jr. I guess he was originally Big and Brown. That's his first name. And then he switched to Brown Man. So I was watching a stream. It was like a Pokemon thing. I forget what exactly the game was. It was like a ROM hack or whatever. And I said basically, I typed in the chat, which I don't normally do.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I type in the chat, I push enter, and it's Cool Trainer Owen. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because that's like from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't had that name for any other thing for like 7 years, and I just haven't been on Twitch that often. And he goes, I like say congratulations.
Yeah.
I say congratulations to Ray for the twitch.tv/Ray, and he goes, thanks so much, Cool Trainer.
Cool Trainer.
So he gave me a shout out, but it's from a username that I've not had on any other account.
Thanks so much, Cool Trainer.
So as soon as that stream ended, I went to Twitch and switched my name.
So now he's gonna be like, I should friend that guy. Where is he?
Yeah. So yeah. So kind of a interesting story. All right, our final story on the podcast is.
Before we go, we can still talk about.
Yeah, we could talk about the other stuff.
Yeah, sure. I think we should wait. That should be like the last.
Yeah, the last. We can do that.
But I was just watching kind of a lot of movies recently. Again, evaluating them, and it was just like, I was just thinking, like, what are your top I was just trying to like, what would be my top 10 movies? What are your like top movies?
It's tough for me. It's a very hard subject because there's a lot of movies.
Yeah, it's really tough to put into 10 because there's certain movies that I love for like one thing,
yeah,
but you can't watch them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I think like Drive, I watched that recently. That's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. Blade Runner.
Good series.
Yeah, Hellboy 2. But yeah, it's always like, do you have a favorite hero movie?
My favorite superhero movie or just hero movie?
Hero movie in general.
I do, but it switches so often. I think, if we're doing just comic book movie, I think it's just The Dark Knight. I think that's my favorite superhero movie if we're going by comic books.
Yeah.
But if we're going by hero movie, it might be this kind of cheesy, but The Incredibles.
Okay, that's a really good one. I do definitely like. It's weird how like I guess because every story kind of has a hero, but
yeah, that's true.
I always like kind of like the silent hero or the hero that doesn't talk much or the hero that kind of fails.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The hero kind of gets his ass beat and doesn't wins, but kind of doesn't win. I definitely like those kind of stories where it's not just straight cut and forward.
Yeah,
that's why I've always kind of preferred movies like Drive or Taxi Driver, Fight Club over.
Rocky is like that too.
Yeah, even Rocky because he loses in the first one. Yeah. Over the first. Or over superhero movies. I always kind of preferred. Besides, like, if you could space it out.
There are superhero movies like
Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy specifically. Peter Parker gets beaten up the entire trilogy, but
yeah, And I will say, even if Amazing Spider-Man was good, killing Gwen would have meant a lot more.
Yeah.
It just sucks that it wasn't that great of a movie.
No, I think, they just rushed a couple characters and then the storyline was all over the place with specifically the second movie.
Yeah. And then they killed kind of Gwen.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, so it doesn't really give you the option to feel bad because you're kind of just like, oh, this just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then they introduced Rhino at the end.
It was weird.
And he wasn't played by an actor that should play Rhino. But yeah,
I was watching an Achievement Hunter like clip channel or whatever, and this is actually from like I think her name's Kai. She's like a new Achievement Hunter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually, it was kind of funny. I haven't laughed at an Achievement Hunter thing in like 8 years, but she was like, "Oh, it's like that one Rhino from the Spider-Man comics. What's his name?" And then they go, "The Rhino."
That one Rhino.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Do you like the Rhino or Juggernaut more?
The Rhino probably.
Really?
Specifically, the Spectacular Spider-Man, the Rhino is really funny.
Mm.
He's a good one.
I really like Juggernaut. They both have Russian accents, but I like Juggernaut's more.
Well, some adaptations of the Rhino do, but some don't.
Yeah. Because they're both. I think every adaptation of Juggernaut's Russian.
Yeah, he is.
But they're both kind of funny characters. They're literally kind of the same. Like if they met each other, it'd just be the same guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how in superhero stuff, like every once in a while, in the same universe, a character will repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
You have the same type of character twice, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, superhero, I'm just kind of like, right
Done
now.
with them?
Yeah, because I want all my favorite heroes don't get anything. I want a Superman thing, but he's not getting anything.
No, Christopher Reeves is still the best Superman.
Yeah, which is saying a lot, kind of, because it could be better. Henry Cavill could have been the best one if he had a good director.
Yeah, they just need better directors. That's on
because they cast good. It's just besides Ben Affleck, they cast good.
That's something I'll give Disney over Warner Bros. Is their handling of Marvel vs. DC.
Yeah,
Disney's definitely done a good job. That's the only thing Disney's done good with their big franchises is Marvel.
Yeah.
Star Wars, they kind of shit the bed.
Definitely.
They have some good stuff with Star Wars, but their movies aren't great.
Yeah, and I would say it's kind of a trap. If I was an actor, I wouldn't really want to be in superhero movies, to be honest.
I would,
because you get typecasted.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think Neil Patrick Harris talked about it. Was like, you're either a TV show actor or you're a movie actor.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much how it goes.
Because he said he was like somehow got into movies.
Yeah. He was surprised.
Yeah, yeah, because with today you can kind of do the both, but it's just kind of like genre.
Yeah.
And especially they give some actors too many roles, like Tom Holland. He's a great actor,
He's good.
but he can't. He couldn't play every character like Tom Hanks could or something.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that like body build. He's more of a boyish character.
Yeah.
In anything.
Or if he's, I guess he's trying to. It's not really his fault, but it's just like DiCaprio is a good example of like how he plays so many different roles, and it actually works with him because
he's able to change.
Like especially with Hugh Glass or whatever in what's the movie called? It's the snowy one.
I know you're talking about.
I watched it recently, but I forget what it's called. He in other movies he kind of portrays like a younger guy, but in this one he has like a full beard and he's like the dad.
Yeah.
So it's like he can switch so easily.
Him and I'd say Brad Pitt. He's in so many movies.
Yeah,
he could
Pitt
do it really
for sure. McConaughey kind of does it a little bit.
Yeah, you have to be. Sad thing for Holland is just kind of just the way it is. You have to be
too baby-faced.
Yeah, too baby-faced and too short.
Yeah,
You have to be like at least average or tall, and have like more of a masculine build to be able to play like every male character, because then it'll work.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Gosling could play so many characters and stuff because it's just pretty universal if you're slightly built, because you're like, it's more believable. You're like, oh, this guy can, actually beat people up, but also, be more comedic and stuff if need be. Where Holland is I just don't think can fit a more serious role.
Two actors named Tom that are short.
Tom Holland and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But Cruise at least gets he looks more masculine, which works. But
that's true.
He always it's so funny the way they have the camera that makes him look taller and stuff like that. He's a really good actor though. Tom Cruise is one of those guys that you could play any role. He's just really good at acting. And he's one of those actors that has a license for everything too.
That's true.
He's a cool dude.
I do think though, they were great actors with us growing up, but I think even before our time, I think it gets worse every time with each generation for actors.
Yeah.
There were some amazing actors before our time, like Jack Nicholson and
that whole cast of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is insanely good.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman's always been around. Yeah, Danny. He was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was really young, but and John Malkovich was in it. But yeah, and I think acting, you had to be better at acting back then.
Yeah, for sure, because there's not as much production to help yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of rely on your own acting ability to
be in the character and stuff like that. And it was interesting because back then was a time to where you could probably talk to the historical people you're making a movie about, which had to be crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine it would have been cool. Imagine, I don't know, LBJ, they're making a movie and you go and talk to him.
Why in God's name would you make a movie about LBJ?
And you're like, hey man, what's up? He's like, I acted like this, but you could act like that.
Did you see the thing LBJ said? He was like, smoking's actually good for you. And then he it was in the 70s or whatever, and then he died 2 years later.
Like a true Texan.
Yeah. He was like, I'm telling you, smoking actually makes your skin better, and it's saying it calms you down. That's what he said.
I guess in a way, smoking helps with stress.
Yeah.
But it's not a good cope.
No.
But yeah. I guess drugs are weird. Isn't it weird as humans, we there's stuff that exists that kind of alter us?
That's one of them.
Yeah.
I pointed at a bottle of wine.
But alcohol is weird too. Alcohol is I would say experience with some of them, alcohol makes you dream more. At least for me.
Yeah, it does for me too.
I have more vibrant dreams.
I've had a couple of interesting dreams recently. One where I was good at playing the piano and I was really happy, and then one where I was balding and I was upset.
That's interesting.
Like the balding one was interesting because I like kept trying to cover it up, and as I kept like trying to cover it up, it kept going away. So I was like, "Come on!" And then I woke up and I had a full head of hair, and I was like, "Thank God."
You're like George from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of that recently.
It's a good show.
It's a really good show. Honestly, funny for like such a high-rated show. There's a lot of sloppy cuts and edits.
Yeah.
Like there'll be literally an edit. You could tell Larry David or someone's just like, "Oh, just cut this out," because there's literally like it was Elaine reacting because she started laughing.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What's the matter?" And then it just cuts randomly to George. Like it cuts mid-sentence, and he's like, "What's going on?" Like what the heck?
That's funny.
But there's definitely some funny. There's an episode where they all agree not to masturbate, and Kramer fails because there's a naked lady across the street, and he runs in. He goes, "I failed," and then out of like everyone thinks Elaine's gonna win, but she fails next.
Oh God.
And then it's just Jerry and George wins.
That's funny. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. George was, and then I just like
That's probably what would happen out of the four of us.
Yeah, I win. Jared, I think Jared would lose first.
Probably.
Honestly, I think Grayson would lose early too.
Yeah, even though Grayson did have that one no nut streak.
Yeah, but I think if we actually tried and were tantalized, he would lose.
Yeah.
And then you lose second.
I think. Yeah, I probably would.
It was such a weird because she like goes in a workout thing and Bob Kennedy is there and they're like Bob Kennedy, and that's what got her wooed up.
It's funny, wooed up.
But yeah, and there was another episode where they were talking about the whole thing was about how like Elaine said she faked her orgasms to Jerry.
Yeah.
And it was like, and Jerry in the stand up at the end, he's like, no one can tell if a woman's faking. He was like, it's like crashing a car. You're like 1 minute I'm swerving, and there's a bunch of moving. I'm pretty sure at one point I was turned around, and then you're gone.
Oh, yeah. I think it's so funny we watched those at Donovan's as well.
Yeah.
Like, and Donovan was getting into it too.
Yeah. Kramer.
Yeah. That's the best when she like barely pushed him.
Yeah.
Like...
Every episode he's just moving around.
Yeah.
But I will say George is to me the most, if not the most relatable TV show character. He just has such
there's a lot of them though.
Yeah. He just has everything that's like just so relatable being in the position, especially the God bless you, where he's the only one who's like, you say God bless you. Yeah. And they're all like, that's stupid. Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Or it's I definitely been in positions of George. It really in shows in general. Like Drake and Josh and all this had it. It's just funny when it's synonymous with life where like everything that could go wrong goes wrong.
Yeah. And
you try to fix it and it gets even more wrong. And then you're just kind of like,
pretty much
nothing I could do.
So I have talked about my favorite show on here a couple times. The first time was with Kayla, and she was like, "What's your favorite show of all time?" I said MASH, and then like a bunch of episodes later, I was like, I said MASH back then, but I think I'm gonna switch to Cheers.
Oh,
and now
cool.
I'm thinking I'm gonna switch back to MASH. I think MASH is still my favorite show.
Yeah, MASH has such a...
I love Cheers though.
Curveball ending too. It's such a sad ending. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not out of thin air, but it's kind of like, it's like, wow, they really took a different approach.
MASH is a great ending. I think Cheers set the standard for endings though.
Yeah,
it was great because the last lines are, "Sorry, we're closed."
Yeah,
that was great.
And it's like a more, it's heartfelt. It's kind of like saying goodbye to like a dying friend, I guess, because it's like,
yeah,
it's over.
And it's one of the few shows that had a good spinoff.
Yeah,
Frasier.
Frasier was actually really good.
Yeah.
And Frasier was so different. It was like if you watch Cheers and Frasier, two different shows.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. And Frasier actually had a good finale too.
Yeah, that was such an interesting time. It had to be interesting back then too, because nowadays I can remember as a kid even like waiting each week for new episodes, but now that's kind of like not a thing. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like you get them all in once.
Yeah, that's unfortunate about how it works, because I think COVID was a big reason why that's happening.
Yeah.
Every show is now like streamed and stuff, and it's not as like entertaining in my opinion as like watching it on the thing.
Yeah, because you just have it. You could have it at any time. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, oh, you don't have to wait. There's definitely some like, it makes some shows better when you wait for it and you watch it and you're like, whoa. Especially as a kid, there's something about being a kid and just like waiting.
I think the best was Total Drama for that.
Yeah.
To be honest, because you didn't know who's gonna get voted out next.
Yeah.
It's like it's so suspenseful.
And I remember as a kid watching it like out of order until it caught up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck's going on? And I was like, these aren't these.
Dude, the very first episode of Island I watched was the hide and seek one. So like, and it was so funny, and I was like, oh, they voted off the smelly chick. And that was Bridget.
Bridget, the smelly chick. But
that's when Jeff became one of my favorites.
Yeah,
because he was like hiding in the tree or whatever, and he fell out of the tree.
One of my favorite scenes is just when they're all bullying Harold, the group of the guys.
Me, Alex, and CJ.
Yeah.
Bullying Grant.
Gross. Dude came in his pants. God. The adult version.
Yeah.
Total Drama could definitely have worked as like a Adult Swim.
For sure. All of them as 25-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah, or just even 2 years older, 18.
Even, yeah.
Because they're pretty much adults. No 16-year-olds act like that.
I think 16 is considered adult for Canada, right?
Maybe, I don't know. But they all act too much like grown 20-year-olds instead of like no 16-year-old like act like that looking back now. No one's like, whoa!
And the first episode put it well when Jeff was like, is there a chaperone? And Chris goes, you're all 16 years old.
Yeah, Chris is a weirdo.
It's true. Let me ask you this, because we were talking about this a little briefly earlier. Would you rather be a strictly movie actor or TV actor? Like TV show actor?
Honestly, prefer a movie.
Movie? I was thinking that too.
TV shows are kind of more stressful.
Yeah.
Because to crank all this out.
I will say, I think you get paid more for TV shows though. Yeah. Depending on how they would do.
Especially royalties.
Yeah.
If it does well, yeah. Movies, it's kind of like you make... It's two-way of contract, I've seen it too. A lot of movie actors just kind of get paid outright.
Yeah.
But a lot of smart actors will just get paid less, but take a royalty option.
Mm-hmm.
So if the movie's really good, skyrockets, especially if it's a highly anticipated movie, then you'll make a lot from the royalties.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Star Wars actors all made a shit ton, even though it did crap. It's just...
It's just the franchise.
Yeah.
So.
And that's kind of... it's always... As long as you're not completely terrible, it's usually good for your career to be on there. It's a big hit or miss. It's good for your career if you're the smaller character, honestly. Because if you're one of the main characters, you can get screwed. Like Hayden Christensen. So.
Yeah, big time. That's where I think as a show, being the main character is better than in movies.
Yeah.
As a generalization.
Because I'd honestly, my dream, at least later in life, would be like to be in more artistic kind of movies that have, where it's more of like the singular hero or something like that. Yeah. I definitely want it would be awesome to make like some movies where universes already exist, like a Blade Runner movie would be awesome.
Do you think you'd ever be able to star in like a movie based off of a historical figure and you play that historical figure? Kind of like they're doing with Marilyn Monroe and Ana de Armas.
Yeah. I mean, it would be tough. You'd have to kind of look like them and really act like them.
Mm-hmm. Acting like them's the tough part, like Daniel Day-Lewis and Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, impressionist is really... Like, I think Robin Williams could play a lot. He'd be a perfect Theodore. In like an actual movie.
I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah, he'd be perfect. I don't think we could ever really see another actor really do Theodore Roosevelt.
No.
Besides, there is a dude, he did like a Obi-Wan spin-off thing. He's like a small-time actor. He looks just like Robin Williams. So he would fit as a Theodore Roosevelt.
Probably. I think if you were to be a historical figure, I think you would fit Kennedy a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. Just because the hair and the face, I guess, a little bit.
I'd have to get the voice and
I die. I think that's kind of the easy part for Kennedy.
It's just kind of the manner, how he really acted. Yeah. Because Kennedy would be really interesting.
Apparently, he had in his final car ride or whatever, the parade, he had a brace on his chest, and that's kind of the reason he died, because he had like a back injury. So he couldn't bend down. So that's... That's pretty much how he died.
So it was all planned.
Yeah. That's what he was like. He was like, we gotta put a brace on him. And, like, the doctors were in on it.
Yeah.
Even the doctor knew.
It would be cool. I think a cool movie, just because they always do JFK, him dying.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool, a movie playing like a younger JFK, earlier in his life, when he was in the Navy in World War II.
That'd be good.
And the movie kind of just ends with, like,
him
clips.
Becoming president?
Yeah, clips with him being the president. Yeah. But that's just how it ends.
That'd be good. I like that.
Because you kind of have to be original, I guess, now more and more. And people love having, like, with the character dying and stuff like that. I think Lincoln was kind of interesting, too, because they didn't kind of outright have it like that. Mm-hmm. Wasn't it he just went to the theater?
Yeah.
And then it shows him dead at the end. But I kind of like that more, where it doesn't really... Because that's what everyone knows what happened. Yeah. So it's kind of cool doing the other stuff that people don't really know what happened.
Back between 8th and 9th grade, that's the prime I knew of the Lincoln assassination. I was like really into it, and I like knew all the details of Booth and whatnot. Yeah. I remember specifically being at James's house and watching like just random YouTube videos, and then I'm like, look up the Lincoln assassination because it's really interesting. I like gave him a bunch of facts about it beforehand, and then he watched it, and we both were like really intrigued.
Yeah, it was interesting, like how his brother apologized. Yeah, and how he was just kind of jealous of his brother. His brother, or so the story says.
Yeah, John Wilkes Booth's brother saved Abe Lincoln's son's life. And the interesting thing about his son, I forget his name. You can look it up if you want, but he was present at 3 of the 4 U.S. president assassinations.
Yeah, I heard. Because he even I think he has a quote even that says like he does not go into them anymore.
Yeah, he's not going to any presidential parties.
He's bad luck. Yeah. Could you imagine if he became president?
It'd be crazy.
And then he kills the assassinator instead of vice versa. I think the only president that could have killed
Andrew Jackson,
their assassinator, is Andrew Jackson or Theodore. Yeah. They would have beaten them to death or something. Because Andrew would have the golden glove.
Or Taft could sit on them.
Yeah. Didn't Andrew actually do that?
Yeah.
Didn't someone tried to attack him and he beat him up?
I talked about this story in the podcast before too, but so his gun, the assassinator's gun, it backfired when he tried shooting him, but he had a second gun, and that one backfired. And then he took his stick and then beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, and Andrew was like, well... Andrew Jackson would be an insane... Grant could play... If an older Grant could play an Andrew Jackson. Okay. You'd have to have like a wig, but
yeah,
he can play an older
and Andrew a longer Jackson. Face.
Yeah, he has to. I think him like how Grant will look when he's older will fit. That'd be interesting.
I think Stewart and Grant are both gonna look like their dads.
Yeah, their dads.
Their dads.
They have multiple dads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Stewart has a more curvature face though.
Yeah.
Bob is a.
Yeah.
But yeah, the entire friend group, but who would play each president?
Yeah. Oh, I have that list. I forget what I've done with it.
Yeah, but who would be able to play as? So I think that would change.
Jared's George Washington.
You think you'd play him? Be able to play him?
Yeah.
I think he could play a Nixon.
Jared?
Yeah.
I think anybody in our friend group could play a Nixon.
Connor Sigmund Nixon.
I can't do a Nixon impression right now.
Yeah.
Just having a draw.
Texting me like a Democrat.
Pretty much. HW and W.
Who's a bunch of jerks? I don't even know.
Honestly, Bob Benke and Grant Benke.
Yeah. I think they both were awful presidents.
They're both pretty bad.
One got us in a war and the other one got us in a worse war, so...
HW honestly killed a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, did you see the thing? I watched a thing where like a veteran went to... I felt bad for the veteran because he was kind of in the right. He went to the thing and he was like, are you going to apologize for like the 1 million Iraqis you killed and all my friends that died? And he was like, settle down. And he's like screaming at him and everyone's booing the veteran. I was like, what?
Settle down.
Well, yeah. And Bush is kind of stupid. Did you see the thing where he accidentally said Iraq? He was like, invading instead of Ukraine.
Yeah.
It's like invading Iraq is one of the worst things. And he's like, Ukraine. And then he says under his breath, Iraq too.
Yeah.
And then he just laughs about it. And everyone's like, what the heck? I think
at least he knows he made a mistake, but
he's just laughing it off. It's kind of he's kind of an awful human being. Mm-hmm. I like his brother. Jeb's the best. He's the good one.
I don't even care about his brother.
Jeb would have saved the day. Jeb would have been like, I saved 1 million Iraqi lives.
You gotta love those bushes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the one thing I will say that Trump was right on. Trump got actually, in the 2016, he got bashed by all the Republicans. He was like, the Iraq invasion was a mistake. He ruined everything.
I saw that clip, yeah.
And everyone booed Trump. I was like, why are you booing him?
They're a bunch of Republicans.
Yeah.
And they're going to side with the person who's a Republican.
Because I guess it's a more Democrat belief, but it's true. It's not like...
No, that's the thing about Trump, is that I think before he ran, is that he was more of a liberal-leaning guy. Yeah. But since he was running on the Republican side, he spoke out conservative ideals.
Yeah.
And that's why he got so much popularity, is because people were hearing what they wanted to hear on that side.
Yeah. And that's where I'd say, I guess like everyone here, this isn't political really, but I don't really support one or the other, but that's why I think he'll win just on a political standpoint. I just think everyone's going to...
was it Cleveland? That one was the 22nd and 24th?
Yeah. I think that will actually happen because people that don't like... Because nobody likes Biden, really.
No.
And I think everyone that voted for Biden against Trump...
are regretting it.
Yeah, and are going to vote for Trump now. And whether this is a good or bad thing, I just think Trump is going to win.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay.
Well, I don't want to happen, and I hope... I don't think he's going to live that long, but what I hope doesn't happen is that when Trump's other term is over, Biden runs again.
And he wins, and it's like, what?
God, I'd be so pissed if that happened. I'd be like, can we get someone younger than 75?
Yeah. That's another point too with like Trump running again. I was like, can we get a younger guy?
Yeah.
Mitt Romney's still young. Have him run.
Ludwig Ogren tweeted about it. He's like, can we please get a younger president? I can run for president. And I was like, Ludwig, you can't run. You're 26.
Yeah. Markiplier would win. Yeah. Sorry.
How old's Mark? Like 34? So he's barely not able to run.
So just a little longer. Well, maybe
35.
By the time this next election comes up, he'd be ready.
I think. Oh yeah, that's true. He was born in '89, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'd vote for him.
I'd vote for Mark.
Yeah.
From Ohio. Is he gonna be from Ohio, California, or Hawaii?
He picks all three, so he wins all three.
Those are three pretty big states.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm the Markiplier party, and
actually Hawaii's not that big.
Yeah.
But Ohio and California are pretty good wins.
The Warstash party.
The Warstash party.
Yeah. And then Jeff wins Texas.
Who's Jeff wins Texas. Makes sense. Who's Mark's running mate? Is it Bob or Wade?
Oh, that's like the tough thing. It'll be Bob.
Bob probably.
Wade's the speaker.
I think Wade's his oldest friend though.
Yeah, and Wade's still the speaker.
Yeah, that's true. I think he likes Bob more.
And Wade will be terrible at the speaking. He'll be like, and the mic's all screwing up like it does. And then Mark will be like, can somebody get this guy out of here?
So Jeff Ramsey's running against Mark?
And he actually wins all of this out.
Did you see Jeff's dance that he did?
Yeah. It's funny. Jeff's older now. He looks a lot. He's thin.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks better because he has been sober since 2017.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's been that long. But good on him for being sober for that long.
Yeah, he's been chilling.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I think, especially in my philosophy, when I have like a family, I'll probably just stop drinking.
Probably.
Maybe not entirely, but like small one every month or so.
That's pretty much what my dad does. He just has beer. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Because when you have kids, it's kind of just like you can't really...
Yeah. Even though my dad's kids are pretty much all grown up now. His youngest is a sophomore.
Wow. But still, you'll be like, no!
Yeah.
Did you have one with them on your 21st?
No. I had Dr. Pepper.
Oh. With him?
He doesn't really drink pop.
Oh.
His last pop that he drank was Diet Coke. He was like addicted to it, and then my mom made him quit because it's not really great for you.
Yeah.
And then he quit Diet Coke. Yeah, Diet Coke's really bad.
So is he a healthy man? Health guru?
He drinks nothing but water and coffee.
Alright. So that's good.
He does, whenever we go to Whole Foods, he does get that cherry vanilla soda that I was trying to get in Brooklyn, but I couldn't find it. It's really good. But yeah.
But
talking about alcohol and stuff.
Yeah. I would say it'll get, especially for you, you'll probably find it gets boring after a little bit.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
I do say that was Tuesday night was fun though. And I looked it up afterwards. I had like a tall glass of Blue Moon, and I was buzzed, going into work, and I was like, well, that shouldn't have happened. It's just beer. But Blue Moon's like 5.4% alcohol.
Yeah, I've had Blue Moon.
It's all right.
Yeah. It's a little higher.
Yeah. And a tall glass is like a big old thing. So.
Yeah, it's like a bottle in a can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's where it's like it begins and ends, because you're like, I can buy beer at places now, and you start doing it, and then it just is.
I've only bought like a couple things for me. That's like one of 3 things that I bought just for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've mainly bought things for you or Andrew or Grayson, like the vapes and stuff.
Yeah.
This pack of cigarettes that you have.
Yeah.
I don't really buy things for me. The first thing I bought when I turned 21 was 2 Yoo-hoos, so that just tells you something about me.
It's the best.
Yeah.
We're all talking. Reminds me of a weird conversation at work. We all were talking about Yoo-hoos. Because he's like, you gotta get this, man. And then you got like a case of Yoo-hoos. One of my coworkers named Brian.
Yoo-hoos are like the most healthy chocolate milk because it's mostly water.
Yeah, and we're all talking about. We're like, this is like Yoo-hoos are like a really good drink. Yeah. And he was like, how do you make it? And it's just like water and chocolate syrup stuff. It's very simple. Mm-hmm. And we're all like,
But what if I were to purchase Yoo-hoo?
Disguise it as milk.
When Nate was getting you that, like, I think he got you Sprite.
Yeah.
He like picked out something, and I was like, oh, you getting chocolate milk? And he was like, yeah. It was like chocolate Nesquik.
Yeah. Nesquik.
And then he was like, they changed the Sprite bottles. And I was like, yeah, did you see the ad with Trae Young? And he was like, no.
No. They changed his Sprite bottle.
Because that's pretty much what the ad is Trae was talking to like one of his teammates. He's like, oh, what's the deal with the Sprite bottle? He's like, it's new and clean. And then it's like,
what?
it's like a clear bottle instead of a green bottle. It's the only difference.
Could you imagine we lived in a society that talked like ads? Like we always talked like, we're like, wow, this phone is really great. It has a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, interesting.
It'd be terrible. I think that's what, like, if there hell where there exists, that's hell.
Yeah.
Just advertisements every second. Press X, like, but there's no X.
It's like Futurama when Bender goes, this is the future. And he's like, oh my god, it's filled with ads.
Yeah. Honestly, true.
Yeah.
You can't even, like, back then, you used to, like, phone games, remember when they wouldn't really have ads? Mm-hmm. And then they added ads, but you just turn offline and they wouldn't pop up?
Yeah.
Now you have to have online to play them. It's stupid.
I think it's so dumb. And then, so I was looking at a YouTube video, and the title was interesting. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Only 5 seconds long, so I'll watch this real quick. I got a 5-minute ad for a 5-second video.
You can only skip it in 5 seconds, so it's 10 seconds.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid. And then I looked at the comments, and they're all like, I got a 30-second unskippable ad for 5 minutes.
For a 5-second. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But,
alright. Anyways, I think we can do what we left off. So this is the final story. It's how Holden and I met. I'll tell it from my perspective, and you can tell it from your perspective.
Alright.
So 7th grade is when I was introduced to Holden, I guess, kind of. And I'm like, so we get to sit in like assigned seats. They're like in alphabetical order or whatever. I get put next to Joey Woolard as usual. And in front of me is this guy named Jordan Plodzik. I never met the guy. Nate White, I was familiar with Nate. And then to the right of Nate was Holden.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I don't know this guy either. So basically the whole first half of the year is me like fucking around with Joey and Jordan. I actually grew close with Jordan over that half year.
Cool guy.
And then the second half of the year, once again, this is 7th grade. This is science, by the way. Science class in Lindbergh's. Miss Lindbergh, shout out to Miss Lindbergh. We're doing testing for exams or whatever. I don't even remember what it was. It might have been like air testing or something.
I think it was that.
And the seating arrangements, we went from tables to like desk rows, which is basically like a stereotypical high school's desk rows. And we're in the lower left section of the class, and I'm in the front row or I'm in the second row, excuse me. I don't know. I forget who's in front of me. But behind me is Nate White, and to my right is Holden. And Nate and Holden have already like bonded over the year, so they're close. And I've been friends with Nate since elementary school, so I already have experience with Nate. So after the test's over, we do like weird Pictionary games or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we like writing on sheets or whatever. We make stories out of it, and immediately Holden and I like start clicking, and Nate kind of like enforces it as well. So Nate like pitched ideas, and we went off those ideas like Shrek Swamp or whatever.
Yeah, and remember Naked Obama.
Naked Obama. Yeah, we had like weird stories that we came up with. And we were playing Heads Up 7 Up. I remember this one. This is one of my favorite moments. And we all have our heads down because it's Heads Up 7 Up, and I hear to my right Holden goes, "Who lives in a swamp under the sea?" And I go, and then Nate starts laughing. And then the year ends, and I don't really think anything of that. Seventh grade was all right, and then the summer for 7th to 8th grade was just okay. I don't think I hung out with anybody besides like Connor and James that summer. And then 8th grade comes around, and the very first class I have is study hall, and in that study hall is a couple people I know, like Luke Smith, and then a few others. I don't know why I said Luke Smith out of everybody, but
shout out.
Yeah. And Holden is also there, and I had some interactions with him from the exams or whatever we took, and those were fun interactions. And then like we're going around each table. I remember this too. We were like following Bauman around because he was like, "All right, people sitting here are this guy, and then this guy." And then we were like, "Oh yeah." And we start like messing with Bauman. It's our first day of school, by the way. We're messing with his teacher we haven't met before. And then he goes to our table. He's like, "All right, you two can sit next to each other, I guess." And then we sat next to each other. And then that whole year was just a bunch of shenanigans with Holden and I.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how we met.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you can say from your perspective.
So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, for me it was I moved schools, so I didn't know anyone at all. So I go into science, and I'm kind of just there. The first person I spoke to was Jordan.
Was Jordan Polizek?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan also had just moved there.
Yeah, because he was like, "You from here?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "I'm not either." And that's kind of like what we bonded over. And then we sat next to Nate, and I remember Nate was like, "I remember most of these people, but I'm not really from here." Like, he says a joke.
Nate literally went to...
Yeah. And we're all like, "Hey!"
So that, freaking Nate, man.
So up front, we always talked, like me and Jordan. I remember with Jordan, all I had was he would always tell me, he's like, "You gotta follow my Twitter, man." And he'd like give me post-it notes every day with his Twitter on it. And I never followed him. He's like, "Are you this account?" I was like, "I don't even have an account." And then besides that, it was a lot with Nate. I remember the orgasming animals. Remember animals?
I think so.
On the picture, me and Nate would be like, because it said organisms rule or something, and we're all like, "Orgasms rule." And
Jesus Christ.
Other mouths are open, so we're all laughing.
Oh God.
That was one of the few times I got like 5 demerits in the day from a substitute teacher.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was like that. Another one, I remember Vine. We'd always look at Vine. You were even part of some of that, where we just like show the Vine to everyone. Because the 21 kid. Oh yeah. Stupid. No, no. 21. And then Nate was like, "This is the greatest video." Yeah. And then we'd seen the Full House thing.
Oh yeah.
The weird alternate.
Where you go.
He's there. Shrek's there. Yeah. Yeah, that's where a lot of like random jokes spawn. That's where Nate made my first Instagram account.
Oh yeah.
Holden Obama 88 or something. Didn't even give me the login.
Wow.
He just has it.
Does he still have it to this day?
Yeah. But it's a picture like Des Bryant on it. It's weird. Yeah. Yeah, and then because we kind of knew each other, but we didn't really. It was just kind of like a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
We didn't have too much interactions, but then the air testing happens. I'm next to Nate, you're in front of us, or in front of Nate, right?
Yeah, I'm in front of Nate. I'm next to you.
Next to me. And I remember first, didn't the Paul Simon thing happen?
Paul Simon thing, yeah, that's right. I'll tell about this. The Paul Simon thing. So, this is actually how we all three kind of like interacted.
Yeah.
On the board, this is like in a random English class. We're not even in our science class, but Lindbergh's still the teacher. There's a thing on the board saying Paul Simon due Friday or whatever, and we're like, Paul Simon, like who the fuck's that guy? Like we had no idea who Paul Simon was. We now know he's a singer.
Yeah.
But we were like, oh, Paul Simon. So we all make the meme out of Paul Simon, and then Nate's and then
great grandma.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, I'm Paul Simon.
Yeah.
And Nate was like, what the heck? And then we're like, okay, grandma. And then I'm like, I'm Paul Simon's grandson.
Yeah. It's like a weird hierarchy for no reason.
All right, you can continue.
And then we did like the air test, and I think we kind of messed around during it.
Yeah, we did. We were like laughing when we were filling it out.
Yeah, and then we finished it. And then I remember the stories. All I remember is Lindbergh reading them.
Yeah.
Where she just kept questioning it. She's like, naked Obama. She stares up, and we're all just not trying to lose our shit.
Yeah.
And then the Jordan Plazic.
Thank you. You actually tapped it correctly.
The Jordan Plazic thing with Tyler. That happened.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah. They both know what happened.
Yeah. Well, Tyler might.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler to this day didn't know what happened. Yeah. But it was funny. And yeah, that's kind of how the year... My summer was weird, too, because that year, I guess I mainly hanged out with Jared and Paul.
Yeah, they were around your neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that summer, that was pretty much us. We went to the community center a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was just me and those two. I don't think I hung out with anyone else that summer.
I guess, sorry, going back to my summer, James still lived over here. This is before he moved on orders, fucking doxing. But this is before he lived over there.
Yeah.
He lived, I think I showed you his old house. It's in the neighborhood. It's closer to Paul Russell than Connor, but it's still in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that's why we hung out. All right, you can talk more about your summer.
But that's pretty much how the summer was. I guess the story in the summer is I remember when Paul broke his glasses because we were all playing tag on bikes.
Oh boy.
We would race each other on the bikes and tag each other, and Jared shoved him and his glasses broke. He's like, dude, what the fuck?
So that's something that happened nowadays.
He had to tell his dad that they broke randomly or something. It was funny because me and Jared were just laughing, bro. But yeah, it was interesting. And then when it comes back, it was first period, and I think you were the only person that I really know besides Tyler.
Okay.
Was Tyler in it?
Yeah, Tyler was there.
Yeah, because I don't remember. Maybe Colin. I don't remember if I knew Colin before though.
I think I just met Colin there too. I didn't really know Colin either.
And we all, we kind of just messed around first day, and it kind of just stayed that way.
I knew Devin, but I didn't know Colin. So I kind of met Colin through Devin. That's what it was.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a different time.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely I completely forget I probably remember not too long ago, but I completely forget remember the days when you got ready for school?
Yeah. And
you're mentally prepared.
God, I stopped showering before school after 8th grade for some reasons.
Yeah. The Wet Chronicles.
Yeah, the Wet Chronicles. That picture went all over the place all throughout the beginning part of high school and then disappeared.
Yeah, I lost it pretty quick. I think my phone was destroyed.
If I can find the picture, I'll put it on the screen right now, but I don't think I can.
But I lost it pretty quick, but everyone else had it. Yeah. But I was the one that took it.
Yeah.
It was what the heck?
And then the two pictures were me with the wet hair, and then Holden's just his DC picture.
Yeah. That was a kick meme.
Yeah. His big kick meme.
But it's crazy how time flies by.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy when high school is a high school time's length ago.
It's almost we're almost there.
Yeah, actually. It's already close. So it's just kind of weird. 2020 is just feels surreal. Mm-hmm. It feels like 2021 and 2022 have kind of been an extension of 2020, but
but they're not.
Yeah, they're not. They're separate years. It's just weird. Mm-hmm. And COVID's kind of dead now, so it's
like I keep thinking Norm Macdonald died in 2020, but he died in 2021.
Yeah, he died really recently, and Gilbert too.
Yeah.
So it's it's so weird. It's gonna be weird when because when we're old, we're gonna see actors like Brad Pitt dies of old age. It's gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
We'll be pretty old though, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's what, in his 40s?
No.
50s?
Pitt? I think he's in his 50s, 60s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, still, it's like another Hollywood. It's another 30 years, and he takes care of himself. So
that's true.
We'll be old.
Yeah.
We'll be like 50.
I don't know about that.
Who kicked the bucket?
We'll see. Who kicked the bucket?
Will
50 speaking like that?
Yeah. We were chronic smokers.
Yeah.
But
yeah, before 7th grade, I had never met I never had any interactions like that before, like I did with Holden. Just the crazy randomness. The closest I got was like Grant or I don't even know, like Reese Holmes. Those are like the closest I ever came to like random interactions. Even Nate White, I was like kind of just mellow with.
Yeah.
And before like that, also 7th grade, Holden was the second Cowboys fan I'd met. Braden and I would talk a lot. I wore like a Redskins flag football jersey. I was like, and he was like, "Why are you wearing that?" I was like, "Go McCoys on the Redskins." He was like, "Oh yeah, you like Go McCoy." And then the next day it was the Monday night game, 2014, where Colt McCoy beat the Cowboys on Monday night. And he was like, "I'm pissed, but good for Colt McCoy."
Yeah.
And I was surprised that he said that. I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Braden was reasonable even back in the day. But yeah, I would say when you meet people, for me I guess it's always been kind of random. It's usually mellow, like you kind of eased into it.
Yeah.
At least Jared and Paul was kind of like that. We kind of just talked to each other instantly on the bus. Chris was another really random one in junior year acting. Yeah. I guess I kind of had some interactions with him before, but I don't think we ever really knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
But in acting was when we really started talking, because I think our first interaction was so weird. It was like we were talking about Will Smith. And I called him Will Smith, and he made him mad. He's like, "I'm not Will Smith," and I was like, "You look just like him," and that's what made him mad.
That's funny.
But yeah, just absurd. We were just talking about the most absurd things.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is, I'd say, even Grayson, because I'd say you and Grayson and I were pretty ballistic sophomore year.
Yeah.
But before, since I met him, that was, again, not very random either. Jared just, took him, because Jared was friends with him. He's like, "Meet Grayson." I just met Grayson. I was like, "Sup?" And then that was, it.
Yeah.
8th grade. The summer of 8th grade. But then I didn't really see him. Again, I didn't really know him freshman year, and then sophomore year was really when I started to...
Gotcha.
That table really started.
I will say I absolutely needed that type of randomness in my life, because I think my best friend it was still Connor at the time, but the second was Grant. And Grant's great, but he was just, especially in middle school, was just too toxic for me. And
Grant?
I just needed, it was too serious, and I just needed some silliness, and that's exactly what I got. Because the only thing that I got before you was basically, probably the closest that came to you was just my sister, and that was just my home life, so I didn't have any of that at school. And I admit my grades did tank a bit from after I met you. But,
the goofiness.
Yeah, I think I was honor roll every year up until 7th grade. So
I was honor roll every year in high school, I think until senior year.
Yeah, I don't think I got honor roll once sophomore year, and that's it.
But yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, it was strange. For me, it's weird. I think I definitely mellowed out of high school. I think junior year was my mellowing out year.
Yeah.
I kind of just was chill. It was the balance of sophomore year of me and kind of everything else, because I was kind of crazy sophomore year, but then I really mellowed out. And I think now I'm pretty
chill.
Yeah. Especially as meeting, besides the friend group, just meeting new people, you definitely get a feel of how you are as a person.
Yeah.
Talking to strangers and stuff like that. And I think I'm definitely a more mellow person. I know it's not humble to call yourself humble.
No, yeah.
But I think I'm kind of humble, but but yeah, it's just it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I met a few new people recently, and like I realize when I'm talking to them that I'm like my dad, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just like the way I go about like interacting with new people, and it's just interesting.
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess I'm like a mix between my dad and my mom.
Yeah.
I'm probably more like my mom, to be honest, but she's
Mhm.
more introverted, where I'm more mid.
Yeah.
It's really how I'm feeling, to be
Mhm.
honest, too, because sometimes like I just don't like want to talk to people, so I'm like really introverted, is that the word? Yeah. And but sometimes I'm like really in the talkative mood, like extrovert.
Yeah.
Like I'll like that's also to where I always, the way I am, I just always ask like random questions.
Yeah.
That's
I feel as though like I'm introverted, but like it's just certain people that brings it out in me. I never am like ballistic unless it's like the people I'm talking, like it depends on the person I'm talking to.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. Meeting new people it's an interesting thing. I'm up for it. It's just, it's always strange. And I definitely think the way our friend groups kind of stayed together, because when you talk to other people, like I have other friends like outside that have like no friends really from high school.
Yeah.
Or they don't talk to anyone from high school, and that's kind of like, it's like, whoa. But yeah, something, we all have something together, and but it is definitely growing up. I'm sure you've seen it. I see it with the group now. It's just kind of like we're all getting older, so it's all kind of, it's like chipping away a bit.
Yeah.
I think we'll all see each other less and less, but there's not nothing necessarily wrong with that.
No,
it's just
it's growing up.
We'll all kind of have our own lives. I do wonder who's all gonna stick in Grove City.
I don't
want to either.
But it'll always be home.
Yeah, that's why I definitely I love Grove City, especially having the second opportunity to see it again, I guess, after all that, because I kind of loathed Grove City and was leaving not really liking Grove City, but now I have the more appreciation.
Yeah.
But I have more of the acceptance that I want to leave, too. But yeah, my goal is definitely Arizona. I want to live in Phoenix for a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, your goal's Dayton.
We'll see. Dayton is great, but I don't know. I don't know if I would. I over the last like 5 months even, I've grown to love Ohio as a state. Like I wanted to move out like 6 months ago. Like I didn't want to live here anymore, but I actually really like Ohio. Even a lot of people voice their hatred towards it, but
yeah, I think it's a great state. I think it's a really good state to have grown up in.
Yeah.
But because it's such a mix of city and country and suburbs, you kind of get it all.
And driving through Pennsylvania, I realized how overrated it is. Like I before we drove through Pennsylvania, I was like, oh, it's a cool state. It's just like Ohio. It's nothing like Ohio.
Yeah.
And I really don't care for it that much.
Yeah. It's more urbanized Ohio.
Yeah.
Where Indiana's like more country Ohio.
That's pretty much how it goes. Which I think I prefer the country over urbanization.
Yeah, but I'm kind of split on it. It depends on the city, because there's some cities I've been to where I loved, like Phoenix.
Yeah.
And there's some cities I don't really like at all, like Jersey City or Trenton.
Yeah.
New York City, I see the appeal to kind of live there. I just don't think I could.
No, I couldn't either.
Kind of lose your mind after a while.
I do want to see how Staten Island and Long Island are. But,
yeah.
But that's about it. Like, I would never want to live in Manhattan. I would never want to live in Brooklyn or Queens or the Bronx or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's just the way people are a lot more... They act a lot different.
That's with every state as well.
Yeah. Midwest kind of in general, though, is very nice people. Even, like, central United States is pretty nice. Kansas, like, the people were pretty nice.
Yeah.
In the South. South's weird. It really depends.
Yeah.
In the West, I'd say Arizona is pretty nice. California is when it gets a little worse, or Nevada.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I do have a final thing. I forgot about this story. This is the thing that happened now a few hours ago. So I was at Tim Hortons because I wanted coffee because I haven't slept. So I go in the line, and then on the thing it says the maple waffle breakfast sandwich is back. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that because that looks good. And then I go up to the lady. I'm like, I'll have a maple waffle breakfast sandwich, and she goes, "I'm sorry, but we just sold the last one." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Just sold the last one.
Like that's like the worst news you can get.
Yeah, ever. Your wife is dying. I don't care. The maple waffle is no longer here.
Dude,
oh my God.
I mean, like if she said they were out, that's fine. But the fact that they just sold the last one, I don't know. And then she offered to just give me like just a regular breakfast sandwich, and I was like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then I had a breakfast sandwich with coffee.
And you're pissed.
I was.
I can live it.
It was good still. I ate it, but I would have liked maple waffle. I wanted to try that.
Should have went to the other one.
The other Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Too far. I guess.
Nothing's too far for the maple.
Dude, I would have went to the one on Georgesville Road.
Yeah, all the way there.
Yeah.
And they're like, we just sold our first one. So here you go.
Thank you.
It's like, oh, we gotta take that back.
Sorry, this customer's more important. Like Charlie Sheen's drawn up by him.
Yeah. This customer's more important. Says if there's no maple sandwiches, he will literally kill us.
No maple sandwiches. But I think those are all the stories that I wanted to cover. I actually had, this is the first podcast I actually had topics for.
Yeah.
And we're all done with those.
And there we go. We made it a long one. This is like the third longest one.
Yeah, an hour 41 is what it's at. Yeah, I guess we can end it.
Yeah.
If you want.
Any last words?
I don't have any last words, but I would like, if you want to close it out, then you can go for it.
All right, everyone. This has been the 27th episode of The Bagel. We will see you another time.